Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you wanted to join me today because today I am answering with Jens some couples questions in a Q&A. We made a similar video about a year ago and we wanted to update you on some of the answers and also answer some new questions. Yeehaw! So if there's any like basic things you are not getting responses to now, that's because it's in another video and you can go and find that right down below. I'm really excited to show you this video also because since our last Q&A we made a video where I challenged Jens to be vegan for 100 days and we're going to update you on how that is going as well. It's been a very long time since that video, so the 100 days are over and it's been over for a long time. So I think an update is due. I am really excited to have Jens in a video with me. He's been in a lot of videos recently, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Yeah!
It is I
have asked you guys on Instagram if you had any questions for me, for us, or for Jens specifically, so we're going to go through them. Okay, so first question is for you, and it is, how did you learn how to sew?
I've been doing amateur theatre for 10 years, and we do all of our own costumes, and about 3 years into the process, the costume designer asked me to help with the costumes, and since then it's just been learning by doing essentially. And I've since just been challenging myself to sew new things, and as if you follow Gita on TikTok, you've seen I doing...
No one's following me on TikTok.
No, that's very fair. And during the lockdown, I decided I would want to try to make a full suit for the first time. I have done waistcoats and pants before, but I want to do a jacket as well.
I think there were 20-30 entries that were just about Jens's sewing abilities. Are you vegan? I think it was in October or something.
Yeah,
about a year ago we made a video where I challenged Jens to go vegan for 100 days. And that video, when that ended, we were talking about if we should do an update, and we didn't end up doing an update per se. But what is it now? Like, are you vegan?
I'm not vegan, I'm vegetarian, but I eat mainly vegan options. When we're together, it's always vegan. Occasionally, about once or twice a month, I will have a vegetarian cheat, usually in some sort of like, ooh, there's a new Kit Kat with butterscotch, then I try the Kit Kat with butterscotch. But in general, it is, I'm vegetarian who eats primarily vegan.
So if you put yourself on a scale from 1% vegan to 100% vegan, where would you go with the scale?
Oh, it's 95. It's very, very seldomly that I cheat.
With this 100 days format, this is something that you've been incorporating continuously into your diet. So you go 100 days being vegan, then have the month of being vegetarian, then go back to being vegan or plant-based for 100 days again. And this is completely something you came up with on your own, something that I'm not forcing Jens to do, that you sort of found your own pattern and a way that makes sense for you.
It really helps me to have a set goal, and then I can every day I can mark it off. That does wonders for me.
And the question for me is, would you be with Jens if he was not vegan? Well, he is not vegan per se, but you eat primarily plant-based and you follow a plant-based lifestyle and a plant-based diet throughout the majority of our time together. And for me, it's not a deal breaker that Jens is not 100% vegan. It would be a deal breaker if you were really into meat, like really real men eat meat. But then you wouldn't be the person that you are, then you wouldn't be the person that I fell in love with. So no, I wouldn't be with you if you were someone completely different. For me, and with relationships, being with someone who occasionally eats meat is not something that I consider a deal breaker, but it has something to do with our everyday lives together now, especially that we live together, that I'm not going to be cooking 2 different meals, and I don't even feel super good about having meat in my fridge or in my kitchen.
I also just feel like it's kind of silly not to want to meet the people you love halfway. That sounds like I would also want you to meet me halfway, but there's a, like, objectively, veganism is the better diet of the two, both for us and for the climate. So it would be silly for me to want you to eat worse and instead of me just eating better.
All of us.
A question for both of us.
A question for the both of us is, what is the most disturbing habit the other one has? I'm really looking forward to hearing your response, but can I go first because I've been sitting on this. But Jens rips off his toenails. TMI, maybe.
That sounds like I don't have any toenails.
Oh, you do have toenails, but like your pinky toenail, for instance.
occasionally I would scratch at them and they just come off, and like I feel like we should have some sort of gore trigger warning here, because it's not good, and it's not something I do sort of with intent, but it does happen a lot. Yeah, now that you describe it, it does sound really gross.
It is really gross.
Yes, well, you never, like, I'm looking at it right now, you never shut any of these darn cupboards.
Is that disturbing to you? Is it disturbing that I don't shut the cupboards?
Sometimes I come home and the kitchen look like we've been robbed because everything is just open. I don't know why.
I don't always have time to close them.
You don't always. You make your own schedule.
I am so excited for this one because I went when I saw people started to ask this. And that is for you. How does Jens deal with your popularity?
Okay, actually. How do you think I deal with your popularity?
I think you deal with it better than I do.
That's what I think as well.
I mean, online it's a different story, but every time we go outside or we meet someone, some people come up to me and say, hey, I love your work, I love what you do, or can I have a picture? I go, and I sort of collapse upon myself a little bit. I'm so grateful and happy, and I've become really awkward and weird, but I love it when you guys come up and say hi and talk to me. I think it's the most amazing thing. I won't say shy because I'm not shy. I'm just, I have a hard time coping with the fact that some people think it's a big deal meeting me.
I think it's really cool. It's really, really cool what you do, and it's really cool that there are people who look up to you.
On the book tour, there was a woman and her boyfriend that asked, can we get a picture with you? And can my boyfriend get a picture with Jens? Because he always watches your videos because he is in them. It
was really weird once we were in the train. We were going to my parents' house and we had Molly in the train with us. And a girl comes up to you and she recognizes you. And then she knows my dog's name. Which is just wild to me, like this stranger knows the name of my dog. Because of course it's not all good, but... No,
I mean some people think I sucked, yeah. And that's okay. What have you learned from moving in together?
Considering that you're zero waste, you form attachment to things very, very easily.
I'm an aesthetic hoarder.
Yes, you are. You're a little bit of a sort of document hoarder. There's a document drawer somewhere in this apartment, I think you've hidden it from me, where it's just...
I keep papers.
But they all have sentimental value.
I save all my old notebooks and calendars, and I love going back and looking at what I wrote and what I was doing in that time.
It's fun because I'm not like that at all. I'm very tough when it comes to... I've just actually thrown out all my old notebooks back at my parents' house. Yes, I've erased my past.
I think the thing I've learned about you is that we deal with being done with things in very different ways. Because if something uncomfortable happens, there's something we just need to do and don't want to, I am very hesitant to even begin doing it. I have a very, very low limit for, I'm just done, I'm not gonna do it. And then I just stop doing whatever I'm doing. When I'm done, I'm so thoroughly and in my bones done with something that I cannot continue.
No.
And you have a much higher tolerance for uncomfortable things and situations. And you soldier on in a way that I just could not ever do. So that's nice. I love the next one, which is, it's a little serious, and I don't think we talked about this in the other one. Maybe we did, I don't know.
I don't think we mentioned it.
But would you raise your children vegan if you wanted any? We got many questions about kids, like crazy many questions about kids.
I would raise them vegan at home, and then with the knowledge that you can't always police what your children eat. So if they're at kindergarten and there's cake, or if they're at school and there's someone has a birthday and brought ice cream or something like that, that's gonna be okay, because eventually you're gonna have to let the children figure this out on their own. But at home, I think I would definitely instill in them the ideals of veganism.
and talk to them about why are we eating this way at home, why are we perhaps eating different than other families. But I wouldn't completely lose my shit if my children went to a birthday party and got cake. I would, however, I guess, lose my shit a little bit if our families, like our parents or anyone in our family, when sort of like, shh, your parents are not here, you can have hot dogs now. That would sort of piss me right the fuck off.
Yeah.
Because again, it has something to do with respect and sort of respecting other people's choices. And while children should definitely be children, I don't want your mom is not here right now sort of becoming the bad guy, refusing things on your child's behalf, because that's not what's going on. Like, I will give my children vegan fast food. Like, that is not the thing. It's not like a super health thing. But I like to hear that that's sort of also like vegan or plant-based at home, and there's tons of resources for children, or about children and infants.
I also feel like raising your child vegan is a good way to instill in the child a healthy understanding of what they eat. Because, and we've talked about this a lot, being vegan is also being more aware of the choices you make when you eat. In the way the culture is right now, there really isn't any sort of real thought that goes into what is in this hot dog, what is in this burger, what is in this, how is this salad grown. But talking about veganism with your child and talking about where food comes from and what this food does to you as opposed to this food is very important. Yeah. It's becoming easier and easier. We have a friend who we had over a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about how he went vegan for a year 10 years ago, and we were both like, ooh, that's gotta be rough. Ooh.
We appreciate and we praise the people who paved the path before us, because damn you guys.
Yeah,
being vegan 10 years ago, being vegan in the 90s, can you imagine? No. It's often put forward like you're forcing this diet or this lifestyle down your child's throat. Yeah, that is what being a parent is, I guess.
Yeah.
That is the same that happens with people who feed their children animal products. The children do not choose animal products, they do what the family does. So I don't think it's any different at all.
Yeah,
like,
that's the norm, so it isn't seen as much of an enforcement, but it is. All culture is enforcement of norms, so...
In context of vegan food, what is your favorite dish to make together is something that other people have asked as well.
I like when we make the kind of food where whether it's burritos or it's burgers, where we have a lot of different things.
As some assembly required.
Some sort of assembly food. I really like that. That's usually really fun, and I like to try to do weird things with the burritos and burgers and stuff. And
like the other day where we had bao buns and we had all the different components to go in them on the table, and we were just chilling, watching some television, and then just putting our little foods together, and that's really nice. Some assembly food are like sort of finger food, tapas style things where we don't like eat like it's a marathon, but more like it's, you know, like a fun jog. That is the worst comparison now.
Wow.
Ew.
Eating is like a marathon.
Oh, eating is not like a marathon. It's
like
a fun jog. All right.
Yes, very good.
The next question is, now that you share a home, do you have to make compromises on buying eco goods and non? This is something I think is really funny. It also sort of shows that I guess some people have the perception, or I give out the perception that I only buy eco goods and then you only buy non-eco goods, which is not really how it works. And also I don't think anyone only buys things that are only 100% perfectly zero waste or eco all the time. But being two people rather than being one person will always come with compromises and come with, well, you have things that you like, and just because I live here, I'm not going to dictate whether or not you should buy them. I sort of try and stay out of that a little bit. I completely stay out of what you buy for yourself.
Also, it comes back to the whole it being silly not to meet the other person halfway, especially when the other person's way of doing things is just better. I can't I can't really think of anything where I feel like I've really made a compromise with going less ecologically friendly going from that to the more eco things that we do now. And of
There
course,
is the toothpaste versus the tooth taps. Jens mentioned just right before we started filming that he sees it sort of like a luxury thing to have toothpaste when he's at other people's homes, because we have tooth taps here at our place now.
Yeah. And I feel
that is a kind of a compromise that I really appreciate that you're willing to make.
Just in general, these types of things, it's just about being less of a stubborn dimwit about it. Just if the other person would really like for you to do tooth taps instead of toothpaste, or really like for you to do bar soaps instead of liquid soaps, just do. It's not that big of a deal. Like, most of these things I feel like is not that big of a deal. People see it as an affront to them that the other person indicates that there's something about the way they normally live their life that they would like to change, and it's not. Like, your partner loves you, they just also loves the environment, and it's okay to give them these small things. It doesn't have to be a battle every time.
Me sort of implementing some of my eco products and replacing some of your products have been with a continuous note of, I want you to try this and tell me if this is something you can live with, or if this is something you like. If it's something that you really, really don't like, I don't want you to do it. I don't want to force you to do it, because it also has to be a great experience to live in your own home. The next question, what made you decide to move in together? Well, last time we talked, last time we made a Q&A video, we were actually talking about how we were not going to move in together. We ended up moving in together. There's several reasons for this. First of all, we had a long period of time where we talked about how we didn't want to move in together, but then I sort of started having feelings about moving in together might sound kind of good actually, and I sort of changed perspective a little bit, and then I came up to you and said, okay, I think I definitely don't want to move in together is sort of starting to become I see the point. There are advantages of this. And I just made you aware of this fact that I'm sort of drifting in another direction a little bit, but we did move in together. At that point, we decided to move in together, I guess, when we found out that my apartment was dangerous to live in.
Yeah.
That was sort of a key motivator, because I loved my old apartment, and I still do. I think it's amazing, but the people that I rented it from are really, really difficult to talk to and communicate with, and there was just a lot of going back and forth of them feeling rather hostile towards me, and it wasn't necessarily amazing, and it did feel like they were scheming me a little bit as well. And then we found out that the entire kitchen had to be renovated because all the electrical outlets were really old and super dangerous. So they told me, the people who own the apartment, that once I move out at some point, they're going to remodel everything because it's dangerous to live in. And then I called you up and said, should I just, you know, give them my leaves notice and we can move in together. So we took 3 months in advance, and we used those 3 months to gradually move in here.
And we'd been talking sort of on and off about it for half a year. It's very important not to just suddenly within a week decide these
yeah, we really took a long time to sort of figure out if this was something. We were also talking a little bit about moving into another apartment because maybe this would be too small. Turns out this hasn't been too small, but that was something we're looking into. Should I have an office so I'm not working from home? These sorts of things. But everything turned out so nicely, so that's amazing. Yay! But that is why it is very unromantic and practical.
Yeah, it's just like, perhaps it will be best.
It will be best. And I mean, we save so much money now.
Oh, yes. So good.
It's much less expensive.
Yeah. And also, we don't have 2 fridges where half of it is rotten all the time because we don't...
yeah, that's nice. Yeah. And you own this apartment, so there aren't any weird people we have to communicate with because, you own it. This is not a question, but more like a worry that I think we could address. Someone told me that they're worried that their boyfriend won't like all their vegan meals once they live together. And I think the first thing to underline here is you don't have to love everything and all kinds of meals cooked for you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be because they're vegan that someone doesn't like it. Sometimes people just don't like the same food as you. And I don't expect you to like everything I cook either, but you will tell me. And you also have some sort of saying in what we make. I love spicy food, for instance, but I know if I want you to have a pleasant experience eating it, it should be less spicy. So I don't think you should worry about him not loving everything that you make. I think you should talk to him about what kind of food that he likes, and then see if you can take some of those points and put that into dishes, and then perhaps make that. And also then feel okay about him not loving everything. It doesn't have to be because it's vegan that someone doesn't like it. Sometimes it's just different tastes.
Yeah. Also, if you, I don't know what your situation is, but if you're not living together now, start eating together more often. That really worked for us, because of course we didn't live together for quite a long time, almost 2 years while we were dating, but we ate pretty much all meals together. Make it a space where he's allowed to say, "Ooh, I didn't like this, but ooh, I really like that," and because a lot of people have this idea that vegan food isn't good, and it is. You just have to, just like with all food, you have to figure out what you like, what don't you like.
What is your funniest moment together? And this is really difficult to pinpoint because we laugh together all the time. We think we are both so goddamn funny all the time. We have a lot of jokes, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint one specific time where I thought we were being extra funny. But I really like this summer we've had sort of like, because of lockdown, we haven't been traveling anywhere. We've been traveling to small, weird places in Denmark. Places with no tourist attractions and no nothing, just checking it out, seeing what's going on, going to thrift shops in small, weird towns. And we've had so much fun doing it.
Yes, it hasn't really been sightseeing as much as it has been place seeing.
We've been seeing places. Who's leaving the house when you fight? And actually we got a couple of fighting related questions, and what do we do when we fight and stuff like that. And I don't want to be that couple, but we don't really fight. Sometimes we disagree and we talk about things, but we don't fight.
No.
And it's not even that often that we sort of disagree in like a harsh tone or something like that. That doesn't happen.
During the first year we butted heads a little bit sometimes, but then it's also very important once you've had a fight to talk about not what you were fighting about, but also the way you fought, essentially.
Yeah, sort of like reflecting.
Yeah.
What are your behavioral patterns? What are my behavioral patterns? And we don't fight like we haven't ever fought like slamming door fought.
No.
You're a very calm person, and for a fight to escalate that badly, both people have to be ill-tempered or like have short fuses. And I can be kind of ill-tempered sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
But I feel like I've gotten better. Like I haven't been like angry
Definitely.
for a long ass time.
Definitely. My problem is usually that sometimes I say stuff as if it's objective fact, even though it's my opinion, and that really bugs you. I know.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm being very patronizing, and
I'm not angry at you for doing it anymore. Also because now I know what you mean by it, so I sort of just tell you, well, I disagree, that's not a fact, and then I tell you what I believe in, sort of,
and that's also one of those things we figured out after having fought and then talking about. So the way you said this while we were fighting, that escalated things.
How do you manage and distribute chores? I like to cook, so I cook most of the meals. I love when you cook for me once in a while, but I also really like being in control of what we eat, and you're very, very thankful and grateful when it comes to food being served to you. You don't have a lot of dislikes.
No, you're a little bit more particular with what you like. Also, your mood shifts a lot from day to day. So one day you might be really into pasta or something, and then the next day you just can't eat another bite of pasta. Yeah, that's true. And I eat whatever.
So I do a lot of the cooking, and then you do a lot of the cleaning after the cooking, and then we sort of
I do the cleaning.
Cleanups where we sort of vacuum, wash the floors, wipe dust off. We sort of do that together, and then we have this has to be done. Which one do you want? And then I take the other one. Once the pandemic is over, what are your travel plans?
London. We've been talking about that.
Helsinki.
Oh, yeah,
we actually have a trip planned to Helsinki. We were supposed to be going in October, but obviously that changed. So now hopefully we will be able to go in January, but we don't know. But that is an actual sponsored deal trip collab that I have planned with the city of Helsinki, that I'm really excited about. And then we've been talking about London because we both have London is like this really special place.
Yes,
you've lived there.
I lived there for half a year, and there are there are places I really want to show you, and there are places you really want to show
There are people
me.
I really want to meet up with again,
Yeah.
and people I miss and stuff. So yeah, definitely going.
Yes, we've also talked about Berlin, but
Yeah, I
you've
was
just
about
been there.
I had just been there. I was there in January for
Oh my
Fashion
God,
Week.
this
It's been
year.
a long time ago. But yeah, I would love to take you to Berlin because that is one of my favorite cities in Europe.
There we go. Grab her. I think that was all the questions, wasn't it?
That is all the questions.
Yes, and finally, I just want to say that I want to thank the Gita Mary community, essentially, for receiving me as well as they have. It's very nice when this is such a big deal, a big part of your life, and and thus a big part of my life, that the people you work with, essentially, the people who watch your channel, like me and are very
because you have been in more and more videos, and almost in every single one of those videos there are people that are commenting that Jens is so funny, or it's great that he's in your videos, and people really like you. And I really appreciate that as well. I think that is amazing and nice, and I'm just so happy that I can share this very uncurated part of our everyday life. And that also comes with us being stupid and silly, and I like that I'm able to show that as well. And I like that you want to be a part of it.
Yes, and that's because of both because of how you are, but also the way the people who watch, how they have received me, and I, you know, I'm whenever I say something funny and people laugh, I want to say more funny stuff. So you know, that's
So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for answering these questions with me. Thank you for engaging with my channel and commenting, and also appreciating Jens. I love that, and I think that's amazing. And you can stay tuned for more amazing Jens content.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day and take really good care of yourselves. Until next time. Bye! Do you want to do the thing where I put the hand on the lens?
Yes. Okay, so.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!